Hey there everybody, Bianca Heiming, aka Farmer Bean, down here at the Emerald Village. We had some questions in regards to what kind of worm composting system do you incorporate there at the Emerald Village, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. This is a really simple system. You can literally make one of these systems for about $20. And being that it's so affordable, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a $20 bin. There are many other systems that you can purchase online that go upwards, even up to $250, $300 that are really nice and posh. But this one is super easy, so I'm going to go ahead and share what it is that we're doing here at Evo to start. First thing, you're going to need certain items. Going to need a drill. You're going to need one of these little bits that actually drills holes. You're going to need a brick. You're going to need a glue gun. You're also going to need a screen mesh, and you want the holes of the mesh to be large enough so that worms can migrate back and forth, and you also want them to be small enough so that you're not actually losing a lot of food waste in the actual screen mesh. You're also going to need newspaper, and lots of it. This is otherwise called worm food, and you want to stay away from any of the glossy stuff. You want to just go for that good old Sunday times. And also you're going to need, this is a weed cloth. It allows air to circulate through your system, but also keeps out those pesky insects that we don't want in there as well. And then most importantly, you need your bins. These are just really simple 10-gallon bins, and I like using these because you do have to do some moving them around, and they end up being pretty lightweight, and so somebody as strong as myself can do this as well. So let me go ahead and show you how this goes. On the bottom bin, you just keep it like so, as it is. One thing you can do, you can drill a hole here and you can put a spigot. This bin is what's going to catch all of the liquid excrement from the worms. Exceptional to use in your gardens. Of course you want to use it diluted, but you can put a spigot here that will allow you to open it up, tilt it, and just get all of that liquid out of there. So you'll place this bin, here I'll do it over here, down like so, and then you're going to take your handy dandy brick and you're going to place that in the middle of the bin. This is actually really important because we want all that liquid that the worms start to create, we want that to drain out of the bin into the bottom bin. So you need to have a little bit of spaciousness, otherwise you're going to have a pool of that liquid and worms can drown. Next thing you're going to do, you're going to take a second bin and you're going to drill holes in the bin, and you're going to place that screen mesh that you found at your local hardware store. You're going to place that here in the bottom, and you're going to use your hot glue gun and you're going to seal it. You can seal it by going along the perimeter, or you can also seal it by going around each of the holes. And that's what's going to go on top of the brick. Now come on over this way, I'm going to show you how it looks. So in preparing your worm bin, go ahead and just take this lid off. In preparing your worm bin, you're going to strip all of your newspaper and you're going to put it into a bucket of water. You want it to be wet, and then you want to squeeze all of that liquid out. You want it then to be damp. You don't want it to be a wet, soppy mess because you want the worms to be able to move through it, to eat it, digest it. They love this as food. And so you're going to have all of this shredded up newspaper, and if you come look in here, you'll see I've taken frozen food scraps from our kitchen and I've placed them in here. And I've also placed a handful of my favorite farmer friends. Where are they? They're already hiding. They like to go where it's super dark. Let me see, where are you? There they are. They're all the way towards the bottom already. Here are our red wigglers. You want to make sure and use red wigglers in your worm composting system. The reason why, they travel side to side. And so then when they hit the side of the bin, they're just going to make their way back and turn around and keep going side to side. Other earthworms, they go up and down. So if you put those in your worm bin, they're just going to keep going donk, 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 and they're going to hit the bottom and they're going to go crazy and they're going to die. So use your red wigglers. You can find them available online. Some people sell them for £1. You kind of only really need like a pinch of them, honestly, because they will self-produce and they'll just be super happy. I have started worm bins using just 2. And they were happy as can be because they had all this food all to themselves. The amazing thing about worms, however, is that they regulate their population. So when there's too many worms, they say, stop reproducing, and they all stop. When there's more food or there's more space, they're like, start reproducing, and then they start. You can learn a lot from worms. The next thing that you want to do, you want to take a full newspaper, wet it, drain all the water out, and I call this the blanket. And we're just going to tuck them in. This adds a new level of darkness that they really, really like. Speaking about darkness, that is where the weed cloth comes in. Weed cloth, you can't see me. The weed cloth basically creates an additional level of darkness. It allows air to circulate in so that you're not going to have all your food rotting, and it also prevents any of those pesky flies from laying their larvae inside of your worm bin. Then you got the lid. You've cut out a space. This is the air ventilation shaft, and you've also got the screen. We've super glued this. You want to make sure that this one is on really securely, because flies will come in and they'll wiggle their way and they'll eventually get into your worm bin and lay all their larvae. And I've had a lot of worm bins that I didn't spend time doing that. It was a disaster. So you can technically start your worm bin out with just 2 bins. You'll still get the great liquid excrement, and you're still going to get worm castings. If you want it, if the food was really nicely broken down, you can literally take all of that and just dump it into your gardens directly. I, however, like to add a 3rd step because I'm what you call a lazy farmer. So this 3rd step, I would use a 3rd bin. So you can see this here. So we have here a worm compost that's been going on for way too long, honestly. You can see that we've got a lot of food waste, and I've got tons and tons of worm castings in here. These are a high commodity. This worm casting can sell for a lot of money. And you can also see that I've got some leftover eggshells. There's not major clumps of food in here. I'm actually going to not feed them anymore. I'm going to allow them to eat whatever leftover food is in here. And I've placed this level, they love their newspaper, I placed this damp level of newspaper right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to place a 3rd bin. This 3rd bin only has the shredded up newspaper and that newspaper blanket for that darkness that they like. No food in this bin, just newspaper. That's kind of like their dessert. And I'm going to place this bin on top, keeping in mind that there are holes on the bottom of this bin. I place that on top. When the worms run out of the food on the secondary level, they're going to start migrating up because they want that newspaper. They're going to make their way all the way up into this 3rd bin, and they're going to start eating all of that newspaper. So what you've done, you've started a migration. The migration are the worms moving up. They leave behind all of their worm castings. Easy as pie. I'll go ahead and sift through that, making sure that I don't have any extra food. I'll put that extra food into one of these other bins, and then I've got straight worm castings. So I got the worm liquid on the bottom, excrement, pee, whatever you want to call it. I've got the worm castings in the second, and then I have all of my worms on the top at the very end, and that all goes back into the garden, and we start the system all over again. So I'll go ahead and check in with you guys as we're working these systems, give you guys an update. If you have any questions, feel free and go on our Facebook. You can leave your questions there for me. I, however, am out in the garden, and I'll rely on all the other personnel here at Evo to let me know, hey, you got a question, and I'll be able to help out. And I am hoping on sharing a lot of our other ideas and garden concepts with all of you as well. All right, take care, have a good one. Good luck with all your worms. Ciao.